This will be our third go, that we continue to progress in our understanding of what we're trying to do, both individually, players individually understanding, but collectively being connected as a group. I think each game we've gotten better. Different approach or different opponent, obviously, tomorrow night. So a different challenge. And so with each game, if we can handle the challenges that are coming and we can recognize what it is that we need to do and keep the game looking like we want it to look, then I think we're making progress. And so fitness is another thing that we want to get out of all these games. Every game we're trying to push the guys a little bit longer just to get their legs under them, getting closer to 90 minutes. Hopefully tomorrow some guys will get to go 90 minutes. So it's level of understanding and connectedness and everything that we're trying to do, and recognizing with each game there's a different challenge. The opposition is trying to do something different, and can we read that and can we make the adjustments through the game that we need to make. So far the guys have been great and really taking things on. Tomorrow will just be a new challenge in that process.
And from your experience bringing in all these new pieces, all these new personalities, what is the chemistry like in the clubhouse at this point?
Yeah, the chemistry's great. We still have plenty of faces and names to get in and to add. We've got a lot of guys away between national team duty and everything else, so we're a light bunch right now. But the chemistry's great. The work rate is great. It's a really good group of guys who enjoy each other. So that's a good starting point. And they're enjoying the work and they're finding success and learning. And so all of that is moving in the right direction. Obviously now with opponents in front of us, the season getting a little closer, players might start to feel a little bit more pressure with each of these games. It gets a little closer, but that's all part of it for when opening night comes. And so, but it's been good, and we want to continue to build off of that.
And as far as the position battle at keeper is going right now, do you have a predetermined set of minutes you expect to see certain guys fulfilling, or is it kind of a feel it out basis tomorrow?
No, Jonathan Bond will get the start. He'll play some portion of the game, probably majority of it. JK's done really well as well. We've got a nice group of goalkeepers. We've got 4 of them in camp, all with their own unique qualities that bring something a little different to the equation, and all very capable. So, but Bondi will go tomorrow, and he's done well throughout the course of the preseason. He continues to understand what we're trying to do, as does JK and everybody else. So it's been nice. It's a good group. Everybody's working hard, and they're all competing for their opportunities.
Thanks, Coach.
Yep.
Thanks, Nikki. We'll go next to a question from Kevin Baxter with the LA Times. Kevin, go ahead.
Hey, Greg, thanks again for your time. Nice to see you on my computer screen. Maybe someday I'll get to see you in person.
Yeah,
that would be nice.
Look forward to it.
Victor won't be here probably for a while. As you mentioned, there's four potential starters off on international duty. And when you look at your roster, I think it's probably fair to say it's still under construction. And so with a new coach bringing in a new style of play, adding players, this close to an even end of the season, how difficult is that to get you just talked about the chemistry, but the on-the-field playing style, it seems like you may not have everybody game fit maybe until May or June.
Yeah, we'll see. It depends. Guys will be coming in from international duty, and some of the guys who have been on the visa process, we hope to have them in by early next week. Everybody will fit in. The one thing that we want to establish with everybody that's here is our culture, our style of play, and get as many guys right now that are here on the same page and understanding what we're trying to do. And once that chemistry is developed, and once the understanding of what we're trying to do is in the team, it's easier to add pieces into it when the collective already has a good understanding. And so that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to just lay the foundation. And then when you add players like Victor, who has a lot of experience and has, he's played under this style before, he should slide in pretty seamlessly. Samuel Granzier is an experienced player. He's played in a club that has similar principles that we have. It should be a little seamless. It's more the relationships and the nuances that happen inside of the game as they get to know each other and get to know each other's strengths and weaknesses, and to be able to use those little tidbits inside the match that are going to take a little time to grow as they start to, again, get to learn one another. The style and all that stuff, these are good players that will fit in pretty quickly. But, again, it's the nuances that each other takes from one another that will take a little bit of time. But they're good players. We'll work through it.
One quick follow-up. Unless I misunderstood you, I believe you said you had wanted to add a holding midfielder You had talked about a number of possible players coming in, and I think you're probably 5 or 6 shy of what your original prediction was. Do you still expect to add maybe 4 or 5 more players as we go on? Thank you.
Yes, yeah, we still have some that are, we're at the finish line with a few. We'd love to get across. We are obviously still scouting, and this is a process. For me, it is about being disciplined and finding the right quality of player and person that we want to add to our group to do the role that we need them to do within what we're trying to accomplish. We're not looking to just take any player and throw them in because we need a player. We need very specific skill sets to fit what we're trying to do, and we want to be pointed and direct about how we go about that. And quick, as quick as we can.
Sorry, we'll go next to a question from Damian Calhoun with the LA Daily News Group. Damian?
Hey, Greg, how you doing?
Great, Damien. How are you?
Good.
Great.
Looking back at the last 2 closed door scrimmages, are you starting to see the guys pick up what you want?
Yeah, absolutely. I think, when we first came in, there's a combination between, breaking away from whatever was done with the past, plus having a long off season that we had to work out of the guys' system. Really starting to see awareness of one another, positional understanding of what it is that we're trying to do from a style of play perspective, but also within the structure of our group and what we're trying to do on the field, understanding our principles of play. We've had some really good moments, and those moments have become more consistent with each game. So even in the first game, we had some good moments, but there weren't as many of them. In the next game, we've got more good moments, and then in the third game, again, or the game after, we start to find more consistency within what we're trying to do, but also the ability to adapt within the game when the game changes a little bit. When the opposition starts to adjust to what you're doing, can we then adjust to what their adjustment is? And we're starting to see all of that progression, which means the players are connected, they're thinking, they're recognizing why they're supposed to do what they're doing in games, which is a huge step forward from where we were when we started.
And just real quickly, the guys who are away with national team duty, will you integrate them back for Wednesday or when you get to Arizona?
When we get to Arizona, I mean, it's a bit of protocol that we have to get through, and making sure that we do that in the swiftest way possible so that we can have the group together and the safest way possible. So we'll probably have them meet us in Arizona. They'll be able to start their quarantine while they're there, and that way they'll get into the mix a little sooner versus having them come here, start protocol here, and all that kind of stuff. It starts to get drawn out.
All right, thanks.
You're welcome.
Thanks, Damien. We'll go next to a question from Josh Gessman with Corner of the Galaxy. Josh, go ahead.
Hey, Greg. Thanks for taking the time, as always.
Hey, Josh.
A couple things. Just looking at fitness-wise and health-wise, do you have any updates on any injuries? I'd heard that maybe Chicharito picked up a knock at one time earlier in training, same with Villafaña. I'm also hearing that perhaps Pipo Gonzalez picked up an injury as well. Do you have an update on sort of where you sit injury-wise?
Yeah, Javi's fine. It was more precaution for us. He played a little bit and has been training every day. He'll play tomorrow. Jorge picked up a little bit of a growing issue early, but he's back into the mix. He'll play some tomorrow. You mentioned Pipo has a bit of a bone bruise, which is kind of an awkward one. So it's a little bit of just time for the pain and the swelling and all that to just get out of it. Other than that, we're doing pretty good. Derek is close. We hope to have him in the mix here within the next week and starting to progress towards match minutes. And O'Neal Fisher, same thing. His situation is he had a little bit of some issues early on, just feeling some hamstring tightness. And then in some of our pre-screening, we just found some things that we wanted to take care of before the season starts to get him more balanced physically and so that he doesn't encounter issues if we just race into this. So he's kind of going through precautionary return to play stuff so that we can just kind of balance off some of the things that he had deficiencies in, that we can try to get him moving in the right direction and not have little issues throughout the season because we didn't address it now. So, but those are the guys they're all right there. I think and hope over the next week the guys will be back into the fold. As well as all the guys coming back. So, and that's all. The caveat with that is that we keep everybody that we currently have in the mix healthy, and then we start to build on the group.
Perfect. Thanks, Greg.
Yep.
Thanks, Josh. We'll go next to a question from Sophie Nicolau. Sophie, go ahead.
Thanks, Chris. Hey, Coach.
Hey, Sophie.
Good to chat with you again. Last time we spoke, I asked you a question about the culture and DNA of the club that you had inherited. Now you've had some time to spend with the squad and the team. I'm wondering, what have you learned so far about this particular team and these players that you didn't know when you first joined as manager?
Well, I think, well, I'll just say whether I knew or felt or didn't know is debatable. But what I would say I have found, and I'm really pleased with, is just it's their eagerness to learn and to engage in something, not new for everybody, but different than what they had been doing in the past. Their willingness to be compliant and to work through the process that we need to get to the direction that we want to go. Their willingness to work hard every day, bring full engagement every single day. We've sat through some video sessions in which we point out some things that we're wanting to do, but every single day the guys are really engaged in understanding why they are doing what they're doing on the field and what they're trying to manipulate, what they're trying to deal with defensively. Because once they can do that, they can make their own decisions on the field, and they can understand exactly what they're trying to do and why they're trying to do it. They've been fantastic through that process. It's been enjoyable to take them through the process. And together we're working. We're learning from them, and they're learning from us, and that's what the culture should be to try to get to where we're trying to go.
Okay, awesome. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Sophie. I think we have time for one last question. We'll go to Enrique Gutierrez with Contra Golf.net. Enrique?
Thank you, Chris. Thank you for your time, Coach. Nice to talk to you.
Thank you.
My question is just along the same lines as the previous question. Are there any of the younger players that have made an impression on you that probably one of those players that you didn't know? We saw a goal from Jonathan Perez in the last game against San Diego. And there's also footage of a goal that he scored during a training session. So I'm wondering if Jonathan or any of the other younger players have made an impression on you so far. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. It's a great question. Yeah, and all of them have made a great impression on me. What I have quickly realized is we have a lot of good young soccer players who I think are fitting pretty seamless into our style of play. I think it suits them. I think they are technically suited for what we're trying to do. I think it feels natural to them. And now, again, they're starting to understand the nuances and why on the field they should do what they're doing and what their solutions are. And you mentioned it, Johnny Perez. Adam Saldana has been very, very solid in that defensive midfield position in the early days. Johnny's done well and really had some great moments on the attacking side, especially. Cameron Dunbar has had some great moments through the course of this. A lot of guys, I know I'm going to leave out guys, but our young center backs have had some great exposure over these games, and Jalen and Marcus. I know I'm leaving out guys, but they've done really well. I mean, they've managed some tough opponents and tough situations, and also have done it in the style and the way we want them to do it. And so I think they're improving every day, and they're going to play a role in this team's season, and that's exciting for them and for the club to have young guys who are ready to give us something.
Just wanted to see what your adjustment to Southern California has been like so far. We saw some pictures of the guys out playing beach volleyball the other day. How did that go with the team, and what's the chemistry like right now?
Yeah, it's a really positive atmosphere. Everyone's been very welcoming from my perspective. It's been very easy to settle in. I love the city. I've been before, but I feel very at home straight away. I still need to move out of the hotel and into a home, but that's not far away. But everything's positive and everything's good. Yeah.
And as far as you establishing your spot in this keeper competition, what are you looking to accomplish every day in practice, and what can you use these pre-season games to establish yourself personally as hopefully the starter in this rotation?
I don't think you think about the competition side of things. You just concentrate on your own game. So I'm trying to implement what the manager and what the goalkeeping coach and generally the coaching staff want me to do. And I've enjoyed it. I felt comfortable doing it. I feel comfortable playing with the guys, with the team. So yeah, it's just about doing, I think probably the same for Justin, Eric and JK as well, that we all want to kind of implement what the style of play that the manager's looking for. So it's the same for all of us.
Anything in particular you're working on?
Playing out from the back, being comfortable with the ball at your feet, sometimes joining in as a three at the back and participating in that, being very high as well. We want to be an aggressive team this year and try and hold a high line as much as we can. So, you know, reading things in and behind the back line, and then obviously the communication side of things that comes with that as well. So, yeah, things that I'm sure all of us have done before. So I don't think any of the guys feel uncomfortable doing it.
And from your perspective, what can the team use a game like this as in terms of establishing chemistry, getting familiar with one another, and finding that rhythm, just in terms of being on the field at the same time together?
Well, this is our fourth game now, I think. So, you know, results are always important and performances are important, but at the same time we want to work on the things that we're trying to work on. So pre-season games gives you an opportunity to maybe try a few things that you maybe necessarily wouldn't tactically in a league game, and we're still learning. It's still a learning process. So yeah, it's about it's the next step now in our development as a team. We've got guys coming back from injury. We've got guys obviously away from international duty, and got a lot of young players playing as well. So it's a good experience for them, and they've done really well. When the last few games when they've had to be called upon. So everything's really positive, and I think the level of performance has been good.
Fantastic, thank you.
Thanks, Nikki. We'll go back to Kevin Baxter with the LA Times. Kevin, go ahead.
Hey, so you said it's nice to see you again, by the way.
Hi,
you
Kevin.
said that you're getting used to Southern California a little bit now. What has surprised you most about Southern California and mainly the MLS? You know, you spent a lot of time with a lot of different clubs in England. How are things different here?
There's a lot of differences. I think, especially in the Championship and in the Premier League, everything's very frantic. Everything's very results-based and it's very short-term. Everything's very short-term. So there's less risks taken. There's less time to implement philosophies and ways of playing. Whereas here, it's allowed to breathe a little bit more. So you can kind of implement the way you want to play. Tactically, I've found it to be actually slightly more advanced, especially with this manager anyway. So it's been an eye-opener. It's been very interesting. It's been actually very enjoyable to be a part of. It's actually a little bit more, I say, European. Obviously, UK is kind of part of Europe still, but it's very different to the English game and a little bit more towards the kind of Latin side of the game, which I enjoy and I think is only a positive thing when talking about the MLS in general.
Thank you. Good luck.
Thank you.
Thanks, Kevin. We'll go to Katya Castarena next with ESPN Deportes. Katya?
Thanks, Chris. Hi, Jonathan.
Hi, Katya.
I have two questions. The first one would be, first, what made you want to come to the Galaxy and how's the MLS scene in the UK? And the second one, it's how did you feel personally, you know, strengthening the defense, starting with the goalkeeping position was a priority for the team after they struggled last season. So how exciting was it for you getting that confidence from the team and I guess a responsibility as well to deliver?
Yeah, obviously, especially compared to other MLS clubs, the pressure here is that little bit higher because they're used to success here, which is good. So the culture is always, we're looking to win. You know, we're not looking just to make the playoffs. These are long-term goals that we don't think about on a daily basis, but we're building towards. But I was very excited about coming here. As soon as I got the call from the manager, and he was telling me how he wants to play, and it was exciting. I mean, the way that we see it over there is definitely moved on from the last 5 years. I'd say it seems to have developed really quickly. There's a lot of high quality players here. I've been not surprised, but I've been enjoying the level of like the young players here, even the boys coming up from G2, the really young boys. There's a lot of talent, and technically they're very, very good. So yeah, I think there can be sometimes a little bit of arrogance over in England, which isn't good. But at the same time, I think the MLS, as seen around the world, is definitely growing, and I think people see it now as a real serious league and a serious level. There's players that are getting bought for big money now and going to Europe, which says it all really. So it's great to be a part of it at a great time.
Thanks, Katya. We'll go next to a question from Josh Getsman with Corner of the Galaxy. Josh, go ahead.
Hey, Jonathan, good to see you again.
Hi, Josh. How are you?
Good. With injuries and guys away on international duty, it seems like you guys have sort of put together some patchwork, sort of starting lineups and different things for there. Is there any concern that things aren't coming together fast enough, or do you feel like, as a whole, the team sort of has an understanding of what Greg's trying to institute so far?
I think what's happening at the moment is the manager is implementing the way he wants to play, and it's not necessarily with like a starting 11 kind of thing and like you're going to do this and you're going to do that. Everyone has to know everyone's roles and responsibilities, so everyone's tuned in, no matter whether you're playing 15 minutes, playing an hour, starting the game or not. Everyone's learning. So I mean, I'm learning about what the wingers should be doing because I'm part of the conversation. I'm in the meetings and I'm watching those kinds of conversations. So really, I mean, hopefully, I guess, look, there are a lot of players out. We've got players away on international. We've got a lot of injuries. I think there's going to be some more signings, but you never know. But there's going to be, I'm sure it's going to look very different come the start of the season, but I feel like the structure that he's putting into place is going to be one that's very easy to just kind of fill into because everyone knows each other's roles and responsibilities, which is great.
Perfect, thank you.
Thanks, Josh. I think we have one final question from Chris Maldonado with the Galaxy Guy podcast. Chris, go ahead.
Hey, Jonathan. I hope you're doing well. First of all, I have to say you're looking a lot more tan than when you got here.
Thank you.
Now, I know that it's extremely early in the season, but you guys have played a handful of games against some MLS opponents. I want to get your impression of what the level of competition in MLS is so far as opposed to the championship.
It's a difficult question to answer kind of just off of 3 pre-season games, but I've been impressed by the level. It's a physical league. There were physical teams. They were fast. They're technically good. Everyone's trying to implement a lot of pressing kind of like mechanisms and ways of playing out. And the tactical side of the game is definitely that notch higher from what I've experienced in the championship, for sure. So for me, my impression is that it's a serious level and a serious league, and I don't think anyone would doubt that. So it's exciting to be a part of.
Well, how does it feel being back home?
Happy to be back home. Happy to be close to family and playing in front of the people where I grew up playing.
What was the reaction from your friends and family that you were able to come back home and play for this franchise?
Happy. They were really happy. It's been a long time since I left LA. Now coming back with a bigger family, but family, friends, everyone happy that I'm back.
Are there certain things about Southern California that you've missed that it's just nice to be back here and enjoying?
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of things. I would say the family maybe will be the first one. Places where I grew up that I go. Restaurants, the food, the sun. All those little things I missed.
Well, we're happy to have you back, and I want to speak to you about the defense really quickly. It seems like there's a lot of new personalities being brought in all at once, kind of an overhaul of this defensive line. What's your guys' philosophy going to be heading into this season?
Yeah, I think, like you said, a lot of pieces coming back into defensive. I think every guy that it's new in the team, and the guys that have been here, we have adapt really well together. The philosophy that we're trying to do is what Greg wants us to do. It's a team that comes playing out of the back, a team that is confident with the ball, and a team that is organized behind the ball.
And Jorge, there's a lot of young personalities in this clubhouse, but for you, what do you bring as a veteran presence to this team?
Yeah, I think communication, work ethic, everyday commitment, showing to the young kids every day is a grind. Every day you have to come and give 100% on the training because the way you train is the way you play.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, and good luck tomorrow.
Thank you.
Thanks, Nikki. Kevin Baxter with the LA Times, you still have your hand raised, so we can go back to you if you do indeed have a question. Kevin? Kevin, you're on mute if you are talking.
Actually, I do have a question. That is a technical error, but hello, Jorge, how are you doing?
Hi, how are you? Thank you.
I turn my time over to Josh Gessman from Corner of the Galaxy.
Okay, we'll go to Josh with Corner of the Galaxy.
Hey, Jorge, how's it going?
Hey, Josh, good, thank you.
A couple questions. I guess one is, Greg said that you were dealing with a little bit of an injury. So how are you feeling now, and how do you think that's going to progress? And sort of to follow up on a little bit of what you were talking about, which is your experience. You're one of the few guys now who's on the team who has won an MLS Cup in Major League Soccer, who's won a championship. What were some of the characteristics of the teams that you played on that you think you can bring to this team so that they understand what it means to win championships as well?
Yeah, about my personal fitness, 100% now, fully on practice today. Might have some minutes tomorrow's game, and on the personal thing going on the pitch, my experience, I think it's the communication on the field. I think the chemistry with your teammates, and the chemistry will be with your center back, or the chemistry will be with the guy in front of you. I think those things are really important because those are the things that make you win games. And you might not have it's a long season. You might not have good games. You might have bad games, but at the end of the day, you roll with those. You learn from those, and I think the teams that learn from the mistakes and put them into the next game, those are the teams that go a long way and the teams that win the championships.
Perfect. Thanks, Ryan.
Yep.
Thanks, Josh. We'll go next to a question from Damien Calhoun with LA Daily Sports Group. Damien, go ahead.
Hey, Jorge, how you doing?
Good, thank you, Damien.
Looking back in your career, when everybody knows your story there, but when did it hit you that you were a pro? How many years did it take you to get adjusted to the pro game and the pro life?
Yeah, I started when Sueño. It was when I was 17 years old, and I would say it took me 1 or 2 years when I went into the U20 camp. I remember I got my U20 camp to represent the United States. Went to the World Cup. That's when it hit me, and I knew that not that I wanted to be a soccer player, because I already was a soccer player. But that's when it hit me that I needed to do this for a long time. That I wanted to do this for a long time, and it just takes a time when you come and practice, you try to take care of yourself. You know that you have to do certain things to be ready for games, and that's when you know that it hits you that you have to be a good professional.
Did you struggle with that at all?
I mean, I think I did a little bit. I did it at my own young age. I did struggle a little bit with it, but as the time passed by, I think I gained experience, and I knew when to do some things and not when to do them.
And before one more, did you ever think you would be back here in LA, Southern California, playing?
I never thought it always was in the back of my mind that I always wanted to go back home, but I never thought it was going to happen.
All right, thanks. Thanks, Damian. We'll go into a couple questions in Spanish. We'll begin first with Ariel Judas with MLS en Español. Ariel?
Thank you. Hola Jorge, MLS en español aquí.
Ariel.
Quería hacerte dos preguntas, por favor. ¿Cuánto ha cambiado tu función en la cancha ahora con el nuevo entrenador cambiando de equipo? ¿Es diferente a lo que pasaba contigo en Portland Timbers? Y segundo, ¿cómo es tener a Chicharito como compañero de trabajo? ¿Cómo es la experiencia?
Creo que sí cambia un poco, ¿no? Y creo que cambia dependiendo del rival también. Lo poco tiempo que tengo aquí trabajando con Greg es un jugador que se basa mucho en lo táctico, cómo salir, cómo hacer el parado dependiendo de la forma de juego de que sale el otro equipo. Entonces, dependiendo de cómo sale el otro equipo, es mi forma que tengo que tomar en la cancha en ese partido. Y la segunda, no, creo que gran jugador, una gran persona también, una persona con experiencia, muy comunicativa en el terreno de juego, que ha llevado una gran carrera. Entonces, aprovechar cada momento, ¿no? Creo que al tener jugadores así, son jugadores con los que te gustaría jugar.
Thanks. We'll go next to a question in Spanish from Katya Castarena. Katya?
Thanks, Chris. Jorge, gusto saludarte. Hablabas de lo que les está pidiendo el técnico. ¿Qué tanta responsabilidad sientes en ese sentido? Que uno de los puntos que buscaba ahora el equipo a reforzar era la defensa, sobre todo porque fue algo con lo que batallaron en temporadas pasadas. Entonces, esa responsabilidad que tú sientes de llegar a aportar tu conocimiento y lo que decías de crear esa química con tus compañeros. Y segunda pregunta sería, ¿qué tanto has tenido la oportunidad a lo mejor de hablar con Efraín, que ahorita está con la selección, pero que tiene el perfil parecido, ¿no? También que creció en California, es joven, que ahora mencionó que le gustaría, quizá tiene el sueño de algún día probarse en la Liga Mexicana.
Hola Katia, buenas tardes. Sí, creo que hay responsabilidad, ¿no? Creo que como todo jugador, y creo que como jugador de experiencia, creo que hay un poco más de responsabilidad en eso, ¿no? Creo que el tratar de instruir a los jóvenes, ¿no? Darle las herramientas, ya sea en la cancha o verbalmente, tratar de ayudarlos, y eso queda en nosotros, ¿no? En los jugadores de experiencia. Lo otro de Efra, un jugador con mucho futuro, un jugador que ahorita tiene la necesidad de jugar. Creo que también llega un cierto tiempo donde ya llevas tiempo en el club, ahora ya es seleccionado nacional con la selección mayor de México. Creo que ahora a él lo que le queda es jugar. He hablado con él, le digo, creo que este año tienes que jugar, tienes que demostrar lo que tienes, porque es un gran jugador, pero así como jugador joven creo que también lleva su proceso y creo que algún día, creo que ya jugando aquí, haciéndose referente aquí en el Galaxy, él puede salir y llevar su carrera no nada más a México, sino que a Europa también. De nada.
Thanks, Katia. We have three more. We'll go first to Oscar Gallardo, then to Enrique Gutierrez, and then finish again with Chris Maldonado. So we'll start now with Oscar. Oscar, go ahead.
Thanks. Hola Jorge, Oscar Gallardo de ESPN. Ya platicabas hace unos momentos de cómo es convivir con Chicharito en el día a día, pero en lo personal, ¿sientes que Javier ahora puede regresar a ser titular en Galaxy en todos los encuentros y regresar a ser considerado con la selección de México? Gracias.
Sí, con lo mencionas, creo que este año va a ser muy importante para todos, para él también. Creo que también depende del funcionamiento del equipo, ¿verdad? Creo que así como hay presión para Javier, para anotar goles, creo que también viene de nosotros, ¿no? El cómo llegamos a esas situaciones para llegar a concretar los goles, y para él creo que tener un buen año le ayudaría bastante para también poder llegar a la selección o por qué no al Mundial.
We'll go next to Enrique Gutierrez. Enrique?
Sí, bueno, ¿me escuchas, Jorge? Buenas tardes.
Enrique, buenas tardes.
Thank you, Chris. Jorge, hablábamos antes de la temporada, antes de que empezaran los entrenamientos de pretemporada, sobre tus expectativas, sobre lo que era regresar a casa. Y ahora que ya tienes 2-3 semanas entrenando con el equipo, ¿qué ves? ¿Qué ves en este Galaxy que le pueda hacer a los aficionados pensar que pueden regresar a las alturas donde este equipo ha estado varias veces?
Sí, no, creo que el LA Galaxy es un equipo grande, un equipo que siempre tiene que estar ahí peleando playoffs y peleando títulos. Ahora, como lo dices tú, con las 3 semanas que llevo yo entrenando con Greg, se mira esa identidad que capaz los 2 años pasados cuando veníamos a jugar acá no se notaba. Ahora en 3 semanas el equipo se mira las cosas que tiene que hacer, se cuida lo que quiere hacer con la pelota y cuando no tiene la pelota, y se nota bastante. Hablando con los compañeros que están aquí, dicen que se nota bastante el cambio, el toque que ha venido a dar Greg al LA Galaxy. Creo que sí va a ser notorio y la gente lo va a notar cuando empiece la temporada.
And final question we'll go to with Chris Maldonado. Chris?
Hey, thanks, Chris. Hola, Jorge, ¿cómo estás? Es bueno tenerte de regreso en el sur de California.
Gracias, Chris.
Te tengo 2 preguntas, Jorge. Primero, ¿con cuál otro defensor en el equipo sientes que tienes la mejor química? ¿Con quién te entiendes más? Y también, Jorge, ¿cuál es tu meta personal para esta temporada?
Sí, mira, ahorita como estamos en pretemporada, me ha tocado hacer mancuerna con Nick. A veces pone a Dan, a veces ha puesto a Márquez, jovencito de las academias. Entonces creo que ahorita han estado ahí tratando de ver qué jugador se acomodan mejor, pero sí, con los que me ha tocado estar ahí, creo que sí con Dan, que es un jugador ahí también de experiencia, que ha jugado ya muchos años en la liga, y enfrente me ha tocado tener a Cameron, muchachito también de las academias con buenas habilidades que se pueden llegar a explotar muy bien.